Welcome to Steeler Weekly. I'm your host, Brian Schmidt, and with me, of course, Dwight Stone, former Pittsburgh Steeler wide receiver. Dwight, how you doing tonight?
I am doing, I guess, okay. I lived past Sunday after that game. I'm doing okay.
How long did it take you to get to just okay? I mean, we're doing this on Wednesday. How long did it take you to get to okay? Because I can pretty much, I know my timeline was this week. I'm kind of curious what yours was.
Probably when we start talking, probably about an hour ago, because it was just one of those things.
I agree. I mean, I'm gonna start this out pretty simple. I'm gonna throw it to you, Dwight. What happened?
You heard of something called taking to the woodshed, and the other team get paid to win also. And this team looked like they got a quarterback, as a young Ben Roethlisberger, and I think we're beginning to find that out, that he is the real deal. And their defense is not bad.
I mean, first of all, I think anybody that thought this Eagle team, if you didn't think they were for real in the first 2 weeks, I think everybody right now better probably be looking and going, yeah, they're going to be pretty good. And, I said before the draft, I thought that, Carson Wentz was going to be a very good quarterback in the NFL in a few years. He proved me wrong. He's a very good NFL quarterback now and going to be, I think potentially in a couple of years he's going to be one of those A-lister quarterbacks there where, right now we talk about Ben, we talk about Brady, we talk about those guys. I think he's a guy that's going to be in that class in a few years. And I said back before the draft, I thought he was going to be very good. I thought him and Prescott, golf in California, he's a system guy. I didn't feel like he was going to be, a great pro quarterback, but those two guys I certainly thought were going to be pretty good, and I thought, Wentz was going to be an absolute stud, and he's proven it already, way ahead of my schedule. So first of all, I think anybody that thinks this Eagles team will, if you didn't believe they were going to be a pretty good team at 2-0, I think you certainly believe it now. But their defense flies around the field and hits people. I kind of, when you watch that game, which I know was hard to do, and thankfully for me here in Texas, they decided to switch me to another game about halfway through the third quarter. I think for a lot of Steelers fans, that was probably the best thing that could have happened because it was not pretty. But when you watch that game, how good is that Eagles team? And more importantly, what went wrong? From the Steelers side, how do you put this game into context?
It's one of those things. I saw people saying that they should have a team meeting. Like I say, it's only one game. And like I said, before we started talking on the radio, if you want to have a game like that, you want to get out of your system now, because as you go down the road, it gets worse to recover from.
Yeah, I agree with that. It was amazing to me, when every phase of offense, defense, but when every phase is just outside. I think offensively right now, I think right now, very out of sync.
Oh, yes.
And I think one thing is the Steelers have had over the last few years especially, have had the ability to make big plays. And right now, just out of sync, you're not seeing the big plays. Even against Cincinnati, there were some potential big plays where the ball was underthrown, different things like that. And, I think very out of sync. Defensively, I felt really, quite honestly, it was a simple case of the fact that, you've got a really good quarterback. They ran the ball well. They threw. There was not one phase where anything went well. I've been coaching a lot of years, and even now coaching professionally. One thing I've always said is, there's just those times when I've had teams where we've had great week of practice and we go out, and if it could go wrong, it does. And then, we've also had weeks where, you've had a horrible week of practice and you go out and everything's right. It just happens that way. I think this was one of those games that, quite honestly, it just went. It went south quick, and sometimes there's no way of stopping it from going south. And so from my standpoint, I thought that was pretty much the game. I mean, it's hard to talk about this game. I joked on one of my shows last night. I said, honestly, anybody that listens to it, they may hear dead silence for 30 minutes because there's what are we going to talk? I mean, where do you go from here?
I know. I mean, he 301 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, now here's a guy that we was talking about the defense, the new defense that they had, with the zone, but he was like stepping up and picking it apart. And it was just amazing because when you start coming up to him, he threw the ball to Prowl, and he took off down the. And he's not a bad guy to throw it to. But I mean, it was just like that. Everything that the Steelers did, they had an answer for it. It's like they actually was in their huddle listening to what defense that they was calling, so they could respond back to what they was doing. It was just amazing that because their plays and the way things were happening, it just seemed like they had the playbook also from the Steelers.
I mean, you're right. It was rough to say the least. But again, coming back to what I said, I mean, we were talking about before we came on the air. I'll tell you what, I'll take a game like this in week 3 rather than week 14. You might as well, you can get it out of your system and get things fixed now. And like I said, I don't know that it's necessarily a big major overhaul fix thing. It was just simply, right now we can say it was simply one of those games. Sometimes, like I said, you could have a great week of practice. And you go out, and I mean, you can't, I mean, it was one of those games where I'm surprised that they have water in the water bottles. I mean, everything was wrong. I mean, it was not pretty. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's week 3. And, the only thing that I would have liked with a win, with Cincinnati losing, that would have put, 2 games up on, and that was the part that, I didn't like. But, again, it's week 3. I never like to panic. That's where, for me, I mean, the coaching, the fan part of it goes away and the coaching part comes in for me. I just, there's no reason to panic. But
there you go.
That was ugly, and now it's on to Kansas City. We'll move past this. You and I ain't even going to watch the film on this one.
No.
We're just going to move on from this one. We ain't even going to have meetings on this one. We're not like it never happened. But we now have, we have a Kansas City team that really in the recent history, Steelers have struggled with.
Yes.
2013, a loss. A win in 2014, 2015, another loss. Kansas City has not been kind to the Steelers in recent history. Both teams are 2-1. Kansas City's coming off a 24-3 win against the Jets. Let's talk a little bit about this game. I mean, the ugliness of Sunday, and now you got a new day. As a player, how are you preparing for this? How's your mindset coming into it?
I mean, you got to realize if you playing the Kansas City Chiefs, they got a nice running game. I mean, this guy right here, I tell you, you hand the ball off to him, you almost got to figure out, are you going to put 8 in the box, or are you going to just go ahead and just do some kind of – it's just hard to say because this team right here, when they come to play. And their defense is good. I mean, they got a nice little defense that people ain't heard much about because when you're in Pittsburgh, you pretty much hear everything on their side. And they got a guy named Peters. They think he can compete one-on-one on Brown. They say he's the next best thing since sliced bread out there. They love him. They say he had like 4 interceptions in the last 2 games. I mean, I'm just excited to see this game because, Todd Haley had he was out there for a little while. I'm sure this is one of the games that he circled every year because when he left, it wasn't on good terms. I mean, he had to go to court, supposedly, to get some of his money back from his contract he had with him. So I'm looking for a big game coming up.
Well, I mean, when you look at, the injury reports began today and we're on Wednesday. So, I mean, a lot happens between now and then. But, I mean, the Steelers did not participate. Practice today was awful long. Cody Wallace knee, Ryan Shazier knee, Eli Rogers toe, Dolson foot, Golden hamstring, Ramon Foster's chest, John Davis back. When you look at the Chiefs, Marcus Peters illness, it's an illness. He should be fine. Reed knee and ankle. West running back ankle. Limited participation. Jamal Charles knee. Certainly today in practice, there was a whole heck of a lot more out on our side. When you look at this game, you really have to want, this, to me, this is a game, I hate to use the term must win in week 4, but you've got to get that week 3 taste out of your mouth.
Yes, you do.
You don't want to be 2-2 right now. I mean, is that a mindset right now of the players going in?
Yes. If you look at it, the way they do each season, 16 games, and they try to divide up in quarters. Your first 4 games, your first quarter. Your second 4 game is your second quarter, and so on and so forth. And the thing is that the week before they played Philly, Ben didn't have the kind of Ben game that he had. He wasn't on fire, so we thought that coming in Philly, he wanted to get his name back out there. Hey, I'm Ben Roethlisberger. I can carry this team when it comes down to it. And then you go to Philly, and things doesn't roll out well. So now you're going to Kansas City. Well, from a 2-1, Kansas City feels as though that they should be going to the Super Bowl. They think they're the next contender. But the Steelers, the way they've one of those must-win games because people say, it can't be a must-win game. Because if you fall into a rut and you start off 2-2, now you're thinking like, okay, what's wrong with us? And now you're second-guessing yourself. Now sometimes people start pointing fingers, and you don't want that to happen. This is a good time, to go out there, do what you can do best, matter of fact, we got Bell coming back, and that should be a good shot in the arm. You got somebody with fresh legs, someone with lots of energy. Hopefully this will get things going on offense. Defense got to do what they got to do. They normally known as Blitzbird, and you say they're doing the zone. Maybe they mix it up. Maybe they used to come back and bring the heat. It's hard to say because I think it's one of those games, like you said, it's a must-win game, but it's very early to say that, but it is one because you just lost a big one to Philly.
Do you think that and let's talk about the defense for a second. We've talked about the first 2 weeks. Blitzberg changed Zonberg. Saw some really great things. Do you think that with maybe the lack of blitzing, maybe it caught up a little bit against the Eagles? Because, as you said, it just seemed like they were just slicing and dicing in the secondary.
It
did
was.
It catch up?
I really think, like you said, they're known for their blitzes. And, the way they blitz, you don't know who's coming. You got linemen dropping back as linebackers. You got corners coming in. You got safety coming in. And for a young quarterback like Winsler that they had an opportunity to show, to him, he was stepping up in the pocket, getting more time, and he's a big guy. You're not going to bring him down with just a swack or something like that. And I think that if you had him thinking like, okay, who's blitzing, who's coming, if they threw that out there, have him thinking more. But if you drop him back in the zone, he figured that if I can get my lineman to give me a little space, I can do a little stepping up. I can run the ball. If they come after me, I'm a pretty big guy. I can take a couple of licks. If you come at me, I'm going to throw it to somebody like Prowl. And I think, if I'm correct, Kansas City got a nice little return guy 2 over there, which is very dangerous. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to do, like you said, on defense, more about they're going to come back to the old Pittsburgh and let people, hey, we're sending our guys, do what you got to do. Our guys will uncover them. Or they're just trying to protect the young corners out there, and they're afraid that they may get burned for a deep pass.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I don't feel like, you've got, 1 week doesn't make you have to change everything. But I feel like, mix up a little something.
Mm-hmm.
A little blitz here and there is not going to hurt you, but I mean, mix it up a little bit right now, and I think that'll, that's something I'd like to see happen. I certainly hope it does. Offensively, I tell you, we got to get back in sync, and sometimes I think in the NFL, the best way to get back in sync. And in football in general, but especially in the NFL, the best way to get back into sync is to use your running game to run the football. And the one thing about the Chiefs, they're defensively. I mean they're a good defense. I mean they're 11th in the NFL in defense. They're 23rd in offense. But I feel like Pittsburgh's got to get back. Use their running game right now to set up your play action, and really, once you get back in sync, then you kind of get back. I've always believed that your running game gets you in sync, your short passing game gets you in sync, and then you can get your big plays. But your big plays come off your running game.
Yes, they do.
And I think that that's something that I'd like to see them get back to this week as well. Right now. I agree. I mean, this is a big game. Kansas City certainly is going to come in here. I mean, right now, to me, you don't want to be 2-2.
Exactly.
Especially with, right now, the Bengals have the Dolphins this week. Certainly a winnable game for them. The Ravens have the Raiders, which will be a tough one. But I mean, that's one that if the Ravens win, I mean, now you're looking at a team that. Quite honestly, if you lose this game and the Ravens win, now you're behind the 8 ball.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you got a long way to go, but I mean the Ravens are at 3-0. You don't want them at 4-0 and you at 2-2.
Exactly.
So to me, this is a huge win. You got to have it. I think the Bengals are going to have an opportunity to beat the Dolphins. You don't want to be sitting in that 4-0, them at 3-1, and then Steelers at 2-2. You don't want to be there. I mean, it's early, yes, but I think you've got to keep it even because we've got 2 against the Ravens and all that, but you can't be fighting upstream this early in the season.
No, you can't. You hit it on the head. I mean, Andy Reid. I mean, he got them people believing out there they can win. And that's all you need sometimes. Sometimes you need somebody who is strong-willed, going to tell you like it is. If you're not playing right, he's going to put you on the bench. But he got them people out there in Kansas City got a taste of, hey, Andy Reid is our guy. He's the guy that gave everybody confidence. He's the guy now. He's going back to his home state. I mean, it's going to be one of those things like we're going to line my guys up against your guys, and we're going to come at it. But like you said, going 2-2 is not where you want to start off. I mean, especially when everybody got the Steelers ranked number 1, and you look at every poll before the season started, they had Steelers like 1 or 2. And the first 2 games, it's like, oh man, the Steelers are for real. Even after the Kansas City run, with the Cincinnati win, it wasn't the best of Ben or the defense, but then they come out and they lose to Philly because they said Philly at one time. Everybody was saying Philly is the worst 2-0 team. Now what people are saying now, they're 3-0. Are they the worst 3-0 team? I don't think people are going to say that after them beating the Steelers. Now Kansas City are high hope. Like they said, they circling like they're probably going to the Super Bowl. They have all the key guys. But like I said, this is one of those wins in which you keep circling, and you're correct. They have to win this game because 2-2, and you say 3-1. 3-1 sounds a lot better, especially you start off 2-2. And you got another game coming up. You want to start off 3-1, and I'm with you. Hopefully, Bell coming in will give him that spark for him because, I mean, he should be fresh and he should be ready to prove himself. But they got to get Antonio involved. They have to. I don't care if you put him in the backfield, make him return kicks. I know it's hard for him, but they got to get him involved. He got to get touches, for things to happen.
And that's another question that I wanted to bring to you with Bell coming back. How big is it that he's coming back? I mean, right now, with everything that happened, to me, it's almost like if you could script having the right situation based on what happened, having a guy come back. I mean, this is it. I mean, how do you look at this?
I mean, you hit it right. I mean, because if you look at and back in 2014, it's wild because this guy had almost 1,400 yards rushing, 8 touchdowns. He had 900 yard receiving, 3 touchdowns. They say he's one of the most dangerous back in the NFL because when he's out there, you got to account for him being out there. You got to have 1 or 2 guys looking like, okay, where is he at? Is he lined up in the backfield, or where is he? Then you got D'Angelo. He's not a bad guy too. So you put 2 of them out there. You got Jesse James. Jesse, don't forget about Jesse now. Jesse may be the key to this game, because they're trying to cover all of them. You got the tight end. He may have one of the biggest games out there for himself. But yeah, Bell coming back at the right time. Because you need that shot in your arm, like you said, because everybody looking around like, okay, somebody get a spark. Now, you got him in there. He's energetic. I heard people laugh, and they love being around him because they say he's a character, but he goes to work when it's time to go to work, which is a good thing for the Steelers.
Right, and I just think, when you look at, and again, the lack of a running game against the Eagles, I don't know that it was much on Williams. It was much the offensive line did not play well in any way, shape, or form. And I think that is as much of a big deal as anything else. But I think when you look at bringing, you Bell back and you got him back. I mean, to me, that shot in the arm. I mean, that's where I say, when you talk about the running, get the running game going, and now, now it sets up your play action, and you're right. I mean, Jesse James has impressed me a lot. Here's a young man that you're talking about a guy that's a Steeler legend in Miller, and now you got a guy that everybody's going, who is this? And I think he's been very impressive in the first 3 weeks. But now comes a time where with using the running game, you get that going. Now it makes your tight end even more effective, and it also helps Antonio Brown. I mean, right now against the Eagles, Antonio Brown did not have statistically, he did not have a bad game at all. You're talking 12 catches, 140 yards, but the one thing that I was saying to somebody, I went on the show last night, it was the most 12 catches, 140 yards. It was the most quiet game for this
exactly.
kind of stats you're ever going to see.
Yes.
And that's where, I felt, again, the offense was very out of sync because you really just looked at it and went, wow. I mean, it took me looking at the stats to believe that he had 12 catches, 140 yards.
I know. If you look at the game, you would never know that. You're right.
So that was really a big deal for me. We've got to get back to that, where we get back and say, I think, like I said, it's not panic time, but this is a big game. I feel it's a huge game. So, give me your thoughts. What do you think the score is going to be? Give me your prediction.
Okay. Last thing is, their defense has 8 interceptions. They had 6 against the Jets. So the next closest team to them have 5. So they're ball hogs.
Yeah.
My prediction for the game is I'm thinking 17-14 Steelers, of course. But the thing is, they got to make sure they get the running game going early. I mean, because that will open up other things. Because they're ball hogs. You got 8 interceptions already in the season. This is 2016. It's just like, 3 games. And they had 6 against the Jets. And the defense, like I said, you said, mix it up. Do a little that zone and do some blitz. Make them think now. Make them think, okay, now they go back to the old Steelers. But no, they go back to the zone. Now, which one? And that makes them think more. And it relaxes everybody because everybody won't be involved. Bell coming back is a plus. I think that's going to be one of the key things, that him coming back at the right time. Sometimes bad things turn out to be good things. And this is one of the situations where, he gets suspended. You don't want him, suspended for the first 3 games, but he's coming back at a time when they need a little punch in their arm. D'Angelo's doing a great job. He's 7th in the NFL in rushing, but having him take the load for a little while and open things up. And I think James Harris going to step up. I think he's going to step up alone. I call him old school. He's going to step up. He can get everybody motivated and get going. And in this game, I'm saying it's 17-14, but, hey, you never know. It could be one of those games where Ben just goes wild. So 17-14, Steelers.
I'm with you. I'm going to go 2017 Steelers. I'm with you. I think it's going to be right in that area. This is a Chiefs team. I mean, they score 23 a game. They only give up 16 points a game.
Yes. Wow.
Pittsburgh gives up 22, and right now they're scoring 21. But when you look statistically, I mean, first downs per game, both teams 19 first downs a game. Total offense, I mean, they're within about 20 yards. Rushing per game, the Steelers are at 100 yards a game. Chiefs are at 91. Passing, Steelers are 254. Chiefs are 241. The big stat, like you said, I mean, Chiefs got 8 interceptions. Steelers only got 2.
Wow.
Touchdowns, Steelers have 8 touchdowns on the season, 8 touchdowns on the season. Chiefs have 7. So, I mean, statistically, when you look, I mean, when you go side by side, it is very close.
Very close.
The one thing with the Chiefs that concerns me, touchdowns on returns. They got 2 touchdowns on returns.
I tell you, that's it. There you go.
So we've got to play well special teams. We've got to play well. They've had the. I believe one of these was an interception return. I'm trying to think of how the NFL does their return stats because it's different. But when you look at these things, I mean, this is a very even game, which is why 17-14, 2017 is going to be, I think, the kind of game it's going to be. I think it's going to be but this is, again, just coming back to the importance of winning this game. We can't be sitting here next week talking about being 2-2 because now, now things are going to get real interesting real fast. And you talk about the, doing everything in quarters. Well, I mean, you come out of this game and you're 2-2 in the first quarter. You're definitely behind the 8 ball. Is the general idea from the NFL, players, and you certainly were a huge part of this. I mean, are you looking at each quarter? You're looking at 3-1. Is it more where you're looking at 4-0, 3-1, or are you looking based on opponents and you're going, okay, well, we need to be 4-0, 3-1 in this quarter. Okay, we've got some difficult teams in this 4 games. So hey, 2-2 is good. Is that how you look at it, or is it more of a?
It's more like you said, the first one.
3-1. Yeah.
Exactly, because I mean those are kind of. Sometimes if you come out hot, sometimes you may hit a rough spot every so often. You don't want a rough spot to be happening later down because teams will sometimes get in there. Some people get started in their stride. I mean, hate to say it, look at New England. They winning with anybody. You know what I'm saying? And you can't. They taking wins if they can. I mean, it could be an ugly win. I take an ugly win over a pretty loss anytime. And the thing is, you got to have the wins. And 3-1 is where you want to sit at. You say, oh man, you know what? That Philly game, we got a little spanked. We got took to the woodshed. But we're 3-1. We're right where we want to be going into the second quarter.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I know with where I coach now, professional indoor football. I mean, we play a 16-game season. And,
wow.
We've always kind of did it in never really done it in quarters, and I'm kind of thinking, man, that's a really great idea because we've always kind of done it in halves. So, the first 8, you kind of look at, but, I kind of like that, and I think that's where, again, like you said, I mean, 3-1, it sounds a heck of a lot better than 2-2. So,
yeah.
So you gonna watch the game on Sunday and eat some wings?
Ooh, who you telling? I'm gonna eat some wings, and if I'm good enough, depending on how I work out during the week, I have my regimen. If I be good and eat healthy, Sunday is my day to let it go. So it all depends on how my next 2 days go, depending on my Sunday.
Well, eat plenty of salad and eat some vegetables and have some fruit.
Oh yes, that sounds great.
You can't go on a Sunday with you can't be going into Sunday going, okay, I didn't do well on Thursday, so therefore I got to have a salad and some fruit. You got to be saying, I did well on Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah, that's right. I got to say, all right now, I'm focused now. Yeah, because those wings, like you said, wings. Oh man, I'm thinking about something right now.
Yeah, this is game. Hey, this is game week right now. So you got to do your preparation for Sunday.
Preparation. Okay, I appreciate that. Thursday is my hard day. Okay, so that's my work day, really work day. Okay, I appreciate that. I always need a pep talk. Sometimes I get off track too.
Yeah, you got to stay on it on Thursday now.
Okay, I'm on.
Because some Sunday you don't want to be looking going. I messed up on Thursday, therefore I can't do this on Sunday.
Isn't that the truth? The wings smell good.
That will ruin your whole day. So
you'd be angry and mad at everybody for no reason. It's my own fault. Okay.
For me, it's more of a Sunday. I decided for the Steeler game I was going to I made chicken breast with teriyaki. And I made chicken breast with teriyaki, and I made squash and zucchini with it. And so I realized that part of the problem for the 34-3 loss was that I ate healthy during the game. So I have completely squashed that. Sunday, it's gonna look like a fat shit at Christmas around.
Hey, babe, well, what we'll both be doing the same thing there because I'm gonna be good the next 3 days, and I'm gonna fire it up on Sunday.
There you go. So, yeah, everybody, make sure you listen to our show every week. Also, there's some great shows on Growing Truth. We've got NFL shows, we've got college shows, we've got Canadian football, boxing, baseball. I mean, the only thing missing is soccer and hockey, and we may have those coming too. So, you can listen to us everywhere. You're on the website, Spreaker. You can download us on iTunes. Anywhere there's podcasts, you can download us. So check us out. So Dwight, always good talking to you.
It's great talking to you, my friend.
And we will do this again next week, and hopefully we can be a lot happier.
Yes, with wings, with full belly. Good.
Yeah. Win this game, wins. And I'm telling you right now, we win this game. I'm telling you, every Sunday it's gonna
be wings. Yes,
wings. And I mean, I may even have chocolate cake there just to make sure.
What? Wow.
Hey, I understand. 34-3 loss, and I ate healthy. We've changed the rules.
Changed the rules. Everything went out the window. I'm with you.
Yeah. No longer. Now if we were to lose and I don't eat good, then apparently I'm going to have to reevaluate a whole lot of things.
Yes, we do. I think we'll be fine though. Yes, we got to do the wings. Yes. Oh.
So until next week, my friend.
Oh, my friend, you have a blessed one.
You too, and everybody, again, check us out next week. And until next week, everybody have a great weekend and enjoy the game, and go Steelers. Bye, everybody.